Okay, my friends, as I have shown over and over, Mars is completely saturated with biology. We know exactly what it is. And they have some samples up there they took and have in containers. They want to go back up and get them and take many, many years before they get. And they're talking about around $11 billion to go retrieve these samples that are meaningless. We know what's there right now. This is absolutely meaningless. $11 billion. And the amount of money we're spending on top of that is just insane. And they don't want to see the evidence that they don't want to see. Simple as that. All right, to even consider spending another $6 billion in like 20 years to get these samples back from Mars, that's insanity. We already know what's up on Mars. And what's up on Mars is this stuff right here. Heart sarcomeres. This is the red blood that's run out from these heart sarcomeres. They say there's millions of years up there. Absolutely not. These are the Mars blueberries. I just showed you here somewhere. There they are. It's exactly identical to the Moki marbles. This is not, it's just denied. They can't get their mind to accept the reality. All right, I just showed you right here. This is the Mars crab. That's an artery. This is sarcomeres. And that artery is feeding these muscle sarcomeres so that they can work. I have shown this over and over and over and over and over, and they just deny it. I mean, this is the Mars Morse code. Mars Morse code. I mean, literally everything. And then Benu, that's a heart. There's no question about that. They came back with it, and this is what muscle looks like. And this is what they came back from Benu with. Muscle. They just won't put they can't get their mind around the truth. They can easily test this, no question whatsoever. And I sent them all the chemistry that's in the blood, plasma, whole blood, serum, all different 3 types, 26 different metals, what they should find in here, different amounts. These are membranes. Membrane, muscle, membrane, muscle. Sarcomeres. Shown it over and over and over. And that's what these hearts look like. And this right here is what sarcomeres look like here on Earth, which is these right here. And then you go down to Comet 67P, that's a hip joint in space. They cannot accept the reality of what we have. And that's where the blood flows out of the veins and the arteries. Primarily, that's the artery. Big one. That's 500 feet across. These are the little blood vessels. Now, can we accept truth at some point in our lives? Well, I hope so. That's what the hip joint looks like. Which is what we have here in space, is a hip joint. Now, I don't know how many times I can show this, but I'm going to continue, and hopefully sooner or later somebody will pay attention. We're spending billions and billions and billions of dollars. They know now, I'm sure. They have to understand what they're seeing. I mean, a 10-year-old can understand this. And I've shown it in such detail that there's just no getting away from it. And I have so many details about it. And then you get this kind of stuff here on Earth. Just mind-blowing stuff. And I'm going to be going into this shortly. And this is not anything like what you think it is. This is going to blow your mind. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. And then I've done this new, I think I've discovered a new organ in the human body, or in all bodies. These 2 little tubes coming down, which take all the fascia fluids and move it to the next place. Here's a better shot of it. See that tube and this tube? They run down into the next bit of fascia. See the tubes? That tube? And this little white line in it, I don't know what that is exactly, but it's in there. And this is the other tube. That's where the fascia fluids flow. Now, I think this might be an organ right here that controls the different type of fluids that stay this way or stay that way. because you have different organs and they all get different cancers and they all have different fluids and they all transfer those fluids between these two little tubes on one side and the other, in most cases in the lungs for sure. In the other places, I don't know. This is from chicken tissue. And this is when it was alive, well, just still sort of alive. And then it comes down here, same two tubes. And this was before it was all cooked out. The other one I cooked and ate the rest of it. I cooked the rest of this. Now this is the anchor that anchors that in. There's so much to learn from this. And this may be actually the source of cancer, is that every organ has its own cancer and every organ has its own membrane. And cancers are invasion through membranes. If you don't have the right fluids, you're going to be invadable. So that's just another little bit and piece of this whole puzzle, and this is a big puzzle. And when they come back and talking about finding things in meteorites, that's blood. That's blood right inside of a meteorite. And that's the black blood, which is the vein blood. And this is the artery blood. I've always said that shouldn't be inside of a meteorite. Do you think so? I never heard of that before. And they made a big thing of this guy cutting open a meteorite. Let me show you. All right, he's showing his meteorite, and he's going to cut it. Well, I got a meteorite here, too. This is an iron meteorite, but mine still has blood in it. That's blood. And if you don't think so, let me show you. Blood rehydrates instantly if it's not, you know, if it's semi-new, and that's very new. You see how red that is? That's blood, and the reason it's right here is this layer was there when it came through space. Again, this is a meteorite, and it cooked down into some of the tendon enthesis. And that's the layer of the tissue that surrounded the meaty layer. What it is, I'm not certain, but I do know that that's blood. That's from blood, and this is a meteorite, and here's vein and artery right there. That's the artery, that's the vein. What it was, I don't know. But it cooked down right into the real gnarly spots. That's where things anchor into your body. They're called tendon enthesis. So I got one too. I don't think it's all that rare, my friend. But he did cut it, and what he found exactly what you'd expect. Here, I'm going to shut the sound off. Here's what he did. He took it, he cut it, and he's saying, wow, this is $10,000 meteorite. Well, I don't know about that. I got a batch of them here. They're all over the place. People don't even know what they are. So he's going to cut it, 8.4% nickel. All right, cuts it. Now what's he got? He's going to, see this? I showed you that other one with the red and the black blood in it. These are all little blood vessels. If you looked at that close, that's not just a little tiny hole in there for no reason, and that one, and that one, and that one, and that one, and that one. This was, at one point, some kind of a body part. And it had to be, I would say more than likely, this is a liver, because there's not enough pockets in it, like a lung. Like this here is a little iron lung. You see? And this one came through space too. It's just not that big, a little one. And these are all the alveoli. And it has the little latch on it, which is the spurlock. They all have that to hold it in place. And here's another one. This is a bony, stony meteorite. That's just nothing more than charred bone. And that is the blood that was the marrow that was inside. And that turned into iron. So you got half bone and half iron, because the blood itself is what changes into the iron. Blood is basically mostly iron and nickel, and there's 26 different metals and iron and all kinds of stuff in your blood. They are the things that move things through your body. It's called nucleophilic invasion using these polar molecules, and they attach to the metal core, which is the metals, with a little ring of what they call ligands, and they do little pinchers. So the core is here, and well, just hold on a second, I'll show you what transition metals do. Okay, these are transition metal colors. This is a heart, all right? And the heart was saturated with blood, and it died in the Yoa region of Australia, where it is, Australia in my mind is just literally like a scab. It's just completely saturated with blood. And that blood has the transition metals. The transition metals want to find stability. They want to find a partner to bond with. And guess what? Whatever that blue color is, wanted to bond with the membrane layer here that has the heartstrings. All right, these are the little heartstrings, and they go inside your heart, and they sort of work their ways around. Now, this is the top, so the blood was up this way. These are the metals. They're heavier. They sunk down, so it would have been laying like this. But these are all the transition metals. Now, I have things that preserve stunning same way. Just like a piece of meat that you could put on your table and try to cut into it. And of course, I have so much stuff. It's just overwhelming, the things that I do have that show what I'm saying is true. Now, why are these so important, these metals? This is how you live, and it makes your life run. This is what's in your blood. You see all the little +2, +3, 4, 5. Okay, what does that mean? Well, that means they surround, these are the cores. Each one of these is a core, all right here, the metal core. Around that metal core, you attach other molecules. You bring them through your body, you drop them off, and it comes back and gets some more. This is how the charges make them attach. So here's what it says. I'm going to make it sort of simple. Transition metals form colored compounds and complexes. Colors can vary depending upon the charge on the metal ion. That's the charges. All right, and the ion means they're not exactly that particular atom. They have extra particles, and they have extra little electron dipoles, which they didn't know about this before. Dipole electrons changes everything, and that's the only way you can get all these charges. They can't account for that. They say depending on the charge on the metal. What charge? How did the charge get there? The charge got there because there was extra particles on here, or not enough particles. Not enough, it wants some more. Too many, it wants to give some up. All right, so the charge on the metal ion. So these are called metal ions when they're not exactly the perfect number of stability. All right, and then the ligands, and then groups of atoms called ligands attached to the metal ion, which is the core. See the little plus there? It means there's something going on with attachments. So in aqueous solutions, that's water. So the groups of atoms called ligands, these are around outside, they grab onto the metal core in watery solutions. So they're floating around these little balls of metal with a whole bunch of things attached around them. All right, and they go out through the body, through the blood, and they drop these things off when somebody wants it more than them. Basically, think of it that way. Otherwise, we're going to get too deep into chemistry. So that's how that works. Now, these are transition metals, and I just showed you that they will form stability if they are saturated in the same spot with chemistry. Body parts in aqueous solution, in water, and silicates. There are a ton of silicates. And the silicates also have a very stabilizing effect on body chemistry. They lock it in place. So this is an opal. I just showed you the transition metals. That's how everything is made, and these asteroids and meteorites and everything else, they have the exact same stuff. And not only to Mars, this is what they came back from Benu with, and Benu is a heart. That's a heart. That's what a heart looks like right there, and that is a heart. And they came back with this, which is the muscle sarcomeres, and that is muscle from a heart attack victim. I've shown these things over and over and over. That's That's a hip joint in space. I'm sorry. Space is saturated with body parts. This is Psyche. It's 100% certain it's a heart. This is a tube sticking out. That's a tube sticking out. This is Psyche. They say, oh boy, it's all loaded with metals. Yes, because it's a heart. Blood is just virtually all metal and some fluid. As I show, and I will show probably in this video, or I've shown over and over and over, this is a heart right here. Just saturated low. That's all transition metals. You see all those colors? Transition metals. What are transition metals? There they are right there. They carry things around in your blood. That's what they're there for. These different oxidation states mean they can grab a hold of other molecules and drop them off here and there. Okay, they need to get a biologist, an anatomist, some chemists, and so forth at NASA. To shoot rockets is good, but to understand what they see when they get there, like this right here, continually over millions of years, these layers are formed. No, this is muscle sarcomeres from a gigantic creature, same exact sort of thing we have here on Earth. And they even went to Benu. Oh, as a matter of fact, here's the Mars crab. That's an artery. That's a vein. Here it is right here, and it's servicing these muscle sarcomeres, which are muscles from some giant creature. That's why the planet is a red planet. It got hit by Venus, and it just destroyed everything and burnt everything up, and I'm sure it had giant flood and everything, and then all of the waters evaporated, and it didn't have any atmosphere left, and it turned into the red, dry planet. So we got muscle sarcomeres. These are muscle sarcomeres right here on Earth from a heart attack victim. It's not hard to see this. I mean, it's everywhere. It's fully understood. Those are muscle sarcomeres. And these are the ones they came back from Benu with. Layer of phosphates, which is the membrane, sarcomeres, membrane, sarcomeres. There's the sarcomeres right there. It's not, this is, and as they say, it's clay, it's moist, it's got all of the same metals and all the same stuff we have in our body. There's no difference. And I sent them all the statistics of the different metals that they should find in the different quantities depending upon where they extracted the blood from. They went up and landed on this right here. These are the heart valves. You see that? That's a tube sticking out here. That's not just a little block. That's a tube. And these are heart valves. And this is exactly like Psyche. This is Benu, and it's a heart. And Psyche is too. And Psyche is in much better shape than this, but they came back, they went deep inside, grabbed a chunk of muscle, and came back with it, and now they can't accept what they have in their hands. Here's what they have in their hands: muscle, membranes, phosphate surprise. Wow, we never expected this. Well, they didn't expect to find a heart. But I told them, I went up on a NASA thing, it's a heart, it's a heart, it's a heart. Finally, they shut me down. I don't blame them. I would have shut somebody down too if I was as obnoxious as I was, but that's all I cared about, is getting noticed. If somebody doesn't pick up on this, I was screaming at NASA. If they just don't care enough to look into what I'm saying, after showing all this evidence, it's a national disgrace. And it has been for many, many, many years. Everything I've shown, this goes back to 2015. You see this? 2015. I said, this is biology. That's squirting out blood juices and gases. And they did, the Philae lander landed on here. They took samples, they took gases, they took everything, and it just confirmed everything I said. I contacted them all. European Space Agency, NASA, all of them. Nobody cares. So it really is disgraceful. Now, I'm going to be going over Mau. I know exactly what that is. And I've confirmed that with other people that know exactly what it is. And I'll be, I've shown this many times, which is a hip joint, which is Comet 67P. And it comes close enough to the sun where it cooks. And it cooks out the juices and the gases from the veins and arteries. And the little blood vessels servicing the hip. And this is a hip. It's a hip, trust me, it's a hip. And they break off just like that, just in the human beings too, they break off like that. You see, they can break in a number of different ways. Right here, way down here, they can break right over here. We got a break right here. There's literally no possible way that that isn't a hip joint. You see that little bump on the side here? All this, there's all kinds of tendons down there and muscle attachments. This thing's gigantic, 67P. This is Raleigh, North Carolina, right there. This thing's just absolutely enormous. And they all are. The things that are in space are from creatures. I think this is like 700 miles or something across to the radius into the middle. Something. Well, hold on a second. Okay, I was confused. Psyche is another heart. There's no question that's a heart. It's 70 miles radius. That means 140 miles across. 140 miles wide heart. And that, my friends, is a heart. And they're really interested because they know it's loaded with metals, because I just showed you, or will show you, that that's what's in transition metals are virtually what blood is made out of, and, you know, aqueous stuff, watery stuff. Okay, I think I made my case today. Now, the Earth is biological, space is biological, asteroids, comets, meteorites, they're all biological. I cannot explain it other than it was written in the ancient text that was what happened. And it appears to be true. Now, get ready, because later today I'm going to show you something that nobody understands. And nobody knows what this is yet, but I do. Those are lungs. This is where the lungs come up through the throat. This is literally what could actually be tonsils or something like that. And then this is the throat that comes up out of the ground. And this is enormous. They're checking for volcanic activity, and they come up with this deep penetrating ground radar, found that these were magma-filled chambers, as are these, but they're different types of magma. This, my friends, is the organs of a creature's body that's deep in the ground and enormous. And get ready, because I got some other stuff to show you today. Stick with me, because this is a whole new world. The ones that cannot accept it, it's hard for me to understand how somebody cannot be interested, or if they are interested, to just sweep it away and say, it's impossible. I don't want to see anymore. And that's what I have found over and over. So stay tuned. This is going to be a blast.